Hello. Special greetings to you who still consider newspapers to be the most important source of news. If you want to know what the major American newspapers have to say about the accusations against Joe Biden and the effects of coronavirus on the US economy and Trump's decisions to reopen their jobs, see this video to the end.
The New York Times.
U.S. quietly fears virus's daily toll will soon double. Grim internal forecast of deaths in May as Trump pushes states to reopen. As President Trump presses states to reopen their economies, his administration is privately projecting a steady rise in coronavirus infections and deaths over the next several weeks, reaching about 3,000 daily deaths on June 1st, nearly double the current level. After 2 deaths, perils of the job hit home at a Bronx bus depot. Angel Volkes was already on edge. For weeks, the New York City bus driver had watched as the city's grim new reality played out in front of him through the large glass windshield like a dystopian movie. Mastermind behind an unbeatable NFL team, Don Shula, who won more games than any head coach in National Football League history, led the Miami Dolphins to the league's only perfect season, and will usher pro football into its modern era, died on Monday in Florida. He was 90. Biden camped to push his economic rescue skills. Joseph R. Biden Jr. had just been sworn in as vice president. All he needed now was a job. During the 2008 campaign, Barack Obama had assured Mr. Biden that he would be consulted in every major decision. But many on the new president's team were still Biden skeptical, and Mr. Obama was not sure the meandering former senator had the discipline to be an effective governing partner, people close to both men said. Across globe migrant flow comes to halt. A migrant shelter in southern Mexico, Coledla 72 has for years been a popular way station for those traveling from Central America to the United States. Last year it received a record number of visitors, sometimes sheltering more than 2,000 a month.
Los Angeles Times.
California will begin to reopen, Newsom says. Some stores can restart with pickup service as soon as Friday. Guidelines for others will come soon. Governor Gavin Newsom announced that some retail stores across the state can reopen with modifications as early as Friday, amid growing pressure to ease the stay-at-home order that has cratered the California economy. Trump shows an empathy deficit. As president struggles to console those affected by COVID-19, he breaks a long Oval Office pattern. LA lags on its shelter goal. Officials fall behind on plan to move 15,000 homeless people into hotels, motels. Some activists urge, seize those properties. Not long after LA County reported more than 1,000 new coronavirus cases on Friday, Davin Brown decided he was done putting himself at risk. So he put on a blazer and went to the Ritz-Carlton Los Angeles. For autistic adults, social distancing is nothing new. When the coronavirus hit Southern California, Hector Ramirez tried to hang on to some of the guitapists in his usual routine. Waking up at 6 a.m. each day. Making his bed. Showering. Heading out to walk his service dog in his Chatsworth neighborhood.
Chicago Tribune.
Daily virus death surge projected. Administration says figure may reach 3,000 in June. As President Donald Trump presses states to reopen their economies, his administration is privately projecting a steady rise in the number of cases and deaths from the coronavirus over the next several weeks, reaching about 3,000 daily deaths June 1, according to an internal document obtained by the New York Times. That's nearly double from the current level of about 1,750. COVID-19 complicates choosing a care home. Lack of access for families makes a hard choice even harder. Critics call new CPS grading system unfair. Plan tries to differentiate based on access to remote learning. A grading system designed to reward Chicago public school students for their work while providing them flexibility during the coronavirus school shutdown is nonetheless getting called unfair. Aurora man memorialized victims of gun violence. Carpenter delivered wooden crosses to sites of shootings across U.S. Greg Zanis, an Aurora man who gained national attention for placing crosses at the sites of mass shootings in the United States, died Monday after a battle with cancer.
The Wall Street Journal.
Treasury projects massive increase in debt. U.S. set to borrow record $4.5 trillion this fiscal year. So far, investors are unfazed. Washington. The U.S. government expects to borrow a record $4.5 trillion this fiscal year as it steps up spending to battle what's likely to be the deepest economic downturn since the Great Depression. Liability shield for businesses looms as next virus aid battle. Senate Republicans' efforts to shield companies from liability during the coronavirus pandemic have set up a showdown with Democrats as allies of businesses and labor fight over the terms under which the economy will emerge from its shutdown. Virus sweeps Brazil, a land ill-equipped to fight back. Nation has dense favelas, little testing and the leader dismissive of the risk. In the tiny, stifling home she shared with 7 relatives in the Amazon, Maria Portello de Lima began coughing, started feeling weaker and, over a week, got sicker and sicker. NBC News boss exits after years of tumult. Andy Lack, the head of Universal's news operations whose tenure was marked by a series of controversies, is exiting the company amid a broad restructuring, meant to prepare for a future dominated by digital media.
USA Today.
Feds consider relaxing nursing home controls. Opponents say change would put people at risk. The federal government is considering rolling back infection control requirements in U.S. nursing homes, even as the long-term care industry's residents and workers are overwhelmed by the coronavirus. Abuse survivor. I got my kids. Escaping domestic violence in a pandemic. Editor's note. This story contains descriptions of and references to domestic violence. If you or someone you care about is in a domestic violence situation, resources are available at the bottom of this story. Steady voice in a storm. The story behind Anthony Fauci, the expert who became an icon. Dr. Anthony Stephen Fauci didn't grow up wanting to be famous. Mostly he just wanted to make a difference. But now a lifetime of service has flicked on his searing spotlight.
The Washington Post.
Trump applauds states reopening ahead of guidance. Stance contradicts White House advice. Governors press on even with rise in cases, lag in testing. States across the country are moving swiftly to reopen their economies, despite failing to achieve benchmarks laid out by the White House for when social distancing restrictions could be eased to ensure the public safety during the coronavirus pandemic. Healthcare industry's woes become economies. Even as the coronavirus pandemic draws attention and resources to the nation's doctors and hospitals, the healthcare industry is suffering a historic collapse in business that is emerging as one of the most powerful forces, hurting the U.S. economy and a threat to a potential recovery. Hard-hit Italy loosens its lockdown. Nations across Europe launch a nerve-wracking public experiment. Rome across Rome on Monday. Cars wriggled free from spaces they hadn't left in 8 weeks. Runners laced up their shoes and headed outdoors. The shutters lifted on restaurants and bakeries, even though it was just for takeout service, and Marco Secchi, a 52-year-old shoemaker, seeing it all, yelled with joy while walking down the street. J. Crew files for Chapter 11 amid tailspin for retailers. Major national retailers are foundering as the coronavirus pandemic accelerates the industry's long decline, with Monday's bankruptcy filing from J. Crew delivering a stark reminder that the face of retail could be permanently altered.
Thank you for watching us. Subscribe to our channel to watch and hear the most important newspapers daily. Have a nice time.